Hello again. Let's get into the details of the stories. And government has imposed a new curfew timeline on Bawku, Nalerigo and surrounding communities effective from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, beginning on Sunday, 27 July, until further notice. And there's more in this report.
Fresh waves of violence have gripped the troubled town of Bawku following the recent killing of a Kusasi chief in Kumasi, believed to have sparked a string of reprisal attacks. 2 additional individuals were reportedly killed in Kumasi in connection with the ongoing chieftaincy tensions, triggering renewed unrest in Bawku. On Saturday night, a student of Bawku Senior High School was allegedly dragged from his dormitory and shot dead by unknown assailants who gained entry by scaling the school's perimeter wall. The victim, identified as Musi, is believed to have been mistaken for an affiliate of one of the factions involved in the protracted chieftaincy dispute. In a related development, the residence of the Member of Parliament for Bawku and Majority Leader Mahama Yariga was vandalized and set ablaze later that same night. Residents have reported sustained gunfire exchanges across parts of the municipality over the past 2 nights, heightening fears and forcing many to remain indoors. In a statement issued by the Ministry of the Interior, the government explained that the imposition of the curfew in Bawku, Nalerigo and nearby communities forms part of broader efforts to restore peace in the affected areas. It also serves as a critical humanitarian purpose to provide a secure environment for the safe evacuation of students from various educational institutions in the conflict zones.
Well, staying with the situation in Bawku, Amaprat, who is the press secretary to the vice president, Professor Nana Jeno-Poku-Agyemang, emphasized earlier on Good Morning Gather that enforcing peace in Bawku is imperative for the government. She stressed the importance of unity in addressing conflict escalation nationwide, attributed persistent tensions largely to political interference. Meanwhile, Dr. Ikuyamuako, a member of the New Patriotic Party's communication team, called for peace, adding that Dr. Bawumia has been vindicated in the matter.
We all know, I'll keep mentioning the elephants in the room. We all know that political interference is a major reason why we are here. We all appreciate that fact. So the minute you start to politicize the issue, then there's question about what's your interest, what's your angle, what are you saying, and what are you not saying? Then what are you doing, and what are you not supposed to be doing? You know, so those conversations can be had. But those conversations are not helpful in these circumstances. We are talking about the lives of people in a region. We are talking about property. We are talking about the economic implications it would have for all of us in this country, not just the people of that region alone, right? We are grateful for the intervention of our traditional leaders, the Utumfo or say to Asante, Asante Hene, we can talk about the Nairi, we can talk about, I forget his name or his title. Help me. Zagrana, right? We can speak about all of these traditional leaders who themselves have come in and are trying to help the situation.
I don't think anybody should lose their lives for any reason, and especially for conflicts that especially does not directly involve them. That becomes the issues that we face when there are ethnic conflicts. It becomes simply people getting victimized by belonging to a particular ethnic group or not necessarily because they are directly involved or they have done anything wrong. So we will urge and plead with all those involved to let peace prevail so that we can move on as a country. What is, for me, very disappointing has been how this conflict was managed prior to the swearing-in of the new His Excellency John Mahama-led government. Because as today we are all able to confidently and comfortably admit this conflict is something that predates all of us. It was there before we were born. But getting into the election last year, it became something that was topical, something that was thrown about, because it turned out that the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was also the vice president at that time, belonged to one of the warring factions. And that was basically all that it was. Because that piece of information existed, people across the political aisle decided to make political capital of it.
Still on Bawku, government has announced a shift in its strategy from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in the conflict-stricken Bawku area following a recent upsurge in violence that threatens to undermine the fragile peace process. A statement issued by the presidency on Sunday, July 27, and this is the information on that. So there you have it on the screen. The statement from government says that the government of Ghana is stepping up its approach from peacekeeping to peace enforcement in Bawku and other affected areas due to the recent escalation of violence, which could derail the peace-building process. The Ghana Armed Forces have been deployed to maintain law and order as we intensify curfews to ensure public safety. We assure the public that the Ghana Armed Forces will take all necessary measures to protect lives and property. It continues that the government commends His Majesty Otumfuo Sett II for mediating the conflict and appreciates all stakeholders who are supporting the peace process. The Otumfuo mediation, with the genuine help of Nairi and Zugrana, had almost brought finality to the conflict until the very recent killings, which have necessitated drastic actions to protect all in the interest of the greater good. Government urges all parties to refrain from violence and support the peace process. Residents are advised to fully cooperate with the Ghana Armed Forces to ensure peace. And it wraps up saying, while regretting the inconvenience this peace enforcement intervention may cause to peace-loving people within the affected areas, the government of Ghana remains committed to restoring peace and stability in Bawku and other affected areas, and is taking very necessary measures to ensure the safety and security of all residents, including students. Felix Kwachiofosu writing that the spokesperson to the minister actually for government communications and spokesperson to the president. We'll definitely keep tabs on what is happening in Bawku and bring you more details of that subsequently. Now, away from that, the District Chief Executive for the North Gonja District, Abdallah Nasiru, has pledged to provide sustainable jobs for charcoal producers in the district to stop the felling of trees for charcoal burning. He said the move would protect the fauna and flora of the district.
Popularly known as the Black Diamond, charcoal production is one of the primary means of survival for rural people in the northern half of the country. But to what extent does this cost the environment, and how is it contributing to changes in the climate? Annually, about 1 million trees are cut down and processed into charcoal across the globe. Stronger winds, floods, and destruction of lives and property are some of the aftermath of indiscriminate tree cutting to the environment. But many reasons account for the youth venturing into the charcoal production value chain, either as producers, loaders, or suppliers. For some youth, charcoal burning is lucrative, while others say it is owing to unemployment and lack of requisite skills.
Business.
The clampdown on the increment in the felling of trees, the district chief executive for the North Gonja district, a viable destination for charcoal business, is pledging alternative livelihood empowerment to the producers.
I remember I mentioned engagement with the people, and that will also do with the traditional authority too, because they are the owners of the land. So engaging all of them, and then, as you said, they said that is their alternative source of work, or that is their source of livelihood.
As efforts to meet stakeholders linger on, hundreds of trees continue to fall to the blades of chainsaw operators, directly contributing to climate change issues.
Now to the Western region, and the Tender Board Review Committee in the region is concerned about ongoing projects that have been stalled in the second data credit metropolis. Now, Chairman for the committee has attributed the severe flooding in the city to the delay in the completion of these projects. Western regional correspondent Zambaga Rufai Samino has more in this report.
There are a number of road projects currently ongoing in the second data credit metropolis. The roads include the famous interchange in the heart of the city, which has been abandoned for reasons associated with funding. Unfortunately, the repercussion during this rainy season has been dire due to avoidable floods inundating the city. The Western Region Tender Board Review Committee is unhappy with the development and calls for quick action to remedy the situation. Kwesi Ade Blankson is chairman of the committee.
Most of our problem is littering and then putting garbages. When it's rain, people use the gutter as a dumping site. They will go and dump everything to the thing. The water will carry it away. But that's very bad.
One of the engineers supervising the ongoing project, Samson Tete, who accompanied the team during an inspection, explained the challenges currently confronting the project.
We will have to inform the appropriate authorities and then see to that this problem is fixed. In fact, it impacted negatively on the residents around, and as city managers and engineers, we should not sit down for things like this to reoccur.
Once these projects are completed, the committee anticipates that most of the ongoing floods in the city will be curtailed.
Now, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has assured the commended traditional area of the government's commitment to addressing pressing development challenges in the region. These include the revival of the Commander Sugar Development Company Limited and the rehabilitation of key road infrastructure. The assurance was given during a courtesy call on the Paramount Chief of the Commander Traditional Area, Ketechie Kome, the 7th.
The visit to the Commander Traditional Council by the Vice President was to thank them for their support, which was instrumental to the party in winning the 2024 general election. Paramount Chief of Commander Okatechie Kome the 8th in his address raised some concerns about the need to urgently implement key developmental projects within the region with a strong focus on job creation and infrastructure development. At the forefront of this appeal is a call for the revival of operations at the Commander Sugar Development Company Limited, also known as the Commander Sugar Factory.
Because someone yankopon yimi se mutwa mu wo sugar factory ho a mu ho a na sametical ma na me smitazi me yimi de aye wan yusu ade ho kase na ane makwan itachini base a pipipia waja hyem obeya dijinje nazi usande oye gane hina hene japazi wala ofie nti mi fie asam na mobaya mrante ne ketesia obanya ahozen won yedwuma ye nti na bezen kreye mo a ifie asam wokwani mamba be mo nwa tonto osande oya da na me de shi fefefe o reba huntuma so kanodo o zibi krom Basre, Commander Traditional Area.
Was Okatechie Kome the 8th. You're still watching the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Desmond Kreko. So now let's turn attention to some of the stories. And President John Dramani Mahama has nominated Kojo Choi, a prominent businessman and fintech entrepreneur, as Ghana's ambassador designate to the Republic of South Korea. The nomination, confirmed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, marks a strategic diplomatic move aimed at deepening bilateral ties between Ghana and South Korea.
Kojo Choi, a Korean-born entrepreneur who became Ghanaian through years of investment and cultural engagement, moved to Ghana at an early age and pursued his education in the country's public schools. Kojo Choi, also known as a great pillar for leading the fintech company PaySwitch and promoting the arts in Ghana. In 2018, Kojo Choi served as the deputy head of mission for the Ghanaian delegation during the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang and donated thousands of dollars to support Ghana's only athlete at the event. His appointment signals a renewed focus on leveraging economic diplomacy in Ghana's foreign policy, particularly with countries leading in digital transformation and technological advancement. Choi's extensive experience in the fintech sector position him as a key figure in driving mutually beneficial partnerships in a rapidly evolving global economy.
A statement has been released by the Africa Edu Watch or Education Watch, led by the Executive Director Kofi Asare. The statement on violent incidents at Nalerigu and Bawku Senior High Schools. Of course, it has to do with students. So he says that we express our deepest concern and strong condemnation of the recent violence incidents at Nalerigu Senior High School and Bawku Senior High School, which resulted in tragic loss of 3 young lives on the night of Saturday, 26th of July 2025. A month ago, a similar tribal conflict in Nkwanta Senior High School led to the killing of 3 students. These dreadful acts of violence perpetuated within and around educational institutions have shocked the conscience of the nation. At Nalerigu, it's reported that armed assailants entered. Okay, let me read from here. Armed assailants entered the school premises and fatally shot 2 male students. Okay, so good. Fatally shot 2 male students, Lukman and Gideon, in their dormitories. And then on the same night, at Bawku Senior High School, 18-year-old Hakim Kundima, a final year student, was also reportedly removed from the dormitory and shot by the unidentified attackers. Now, these deeply distressing incidents have caused widespread fear and trauma among students, staff, and entire education community, leading to the closure of the schools. We unequivocally condemn these acts, and which constitutes an egregious violation of the right to life and sanctity of educational spaces. No grievance or conflict, regardless of its complexity or duration, can justify the target of innocent students. Such acts undermine not only public safety but also efforts to promote peace and stability in the Upper East and North regions. So we call on the governments of the Ministry of Education and relevant security agencies to take all necessary steps to, 1, undertake swift investigations to ensure perpetrators are brought to justice, 2, enhance security in all schools located within conflict-prone areas, 3, support the mediation efforts led by the Asante Hino Otumfuo 82 the second, 4, provide psychosocial support to students and staff of affected schools. 5, make alternative arrangements for affected candidates to write their WASIs safely. Imagine if you were there and this happened to you. The students would just lose it. You know, we urge all community members and stakeholders to remain calm and avoid any actions that may escalate tensions further. At this critical moment, a united and measured response is essential to safeguard our collective future and ensure that schools remain safe spaces for learning. We'll leave Good Afternoon Ghana here. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the show.